We got back on. Hi, everyone. Diana Rankin here. I apologize. The downside of living in a rural area is we do not have good internet service. So here I am sitting in my office along with Daisy. I just scared her. I spoke too loudly there when I said, hey, I'm all excited because we got back on the internet. And I apologize. We completely lost the signal. So I just deleted the video I was working on. Those of you who were on with me live, I do apologize. I went ahead and deleted that video because I couldn't get back on it, and it was just streaming dead air, and I didn't want you to have to go through that. So we'll just start over. This week we're going to talk about spirit guides, how to contact your spirit guide. And for those of you who come every week, I'm so grateful. Thank you. You keep me doing this. Those of you especially who make comments, I do read them. You're seeing somebody's tail wagging in the back there. You know who. I do read your comments. I don't always have time to respond to them, but I am appreciative of them. Thank you. And hopefully we're not going to lose the internet again, and we've got this together. Okay, so we're going to get right into this. A couple of things. First of all, this week, as I mentioned, we talked about, let me tell you, this is the fourth week of the year. It's January 19th to the 25th. I have to look down here at my notes to remember the dates. And Monday, by the way, is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King was a terrific, wonderful force for civil rights. I remember it well at my age. I marched in a few marches way back when. And especially for the younger people, it seems like we're not moving forward, but I can see progress. And yes, we take 2 steps forward, and we have taken more than 1 step back, but hang in there because it does get better. It's a very slow process. We are improving as human beings, and it's up to each of us individually to create those improvements and help us grow. I just had a light bulb blink off up here, so if you saw that happen, it didn't really go off, it just kind of lessened. Strange things happen when we're dealing in psychic energy, so especially with electronics and electricity. So anyway, enough of that. So we will get a message from Phillip. What those of you, by the way, I'm not sure I would do this if it weren't for you. I probably wouldn't put myself through all this electronic hassle, but you make it worth it. So thank you. And this week, the question that we asked Phillip came from one of you. So I thank you for the questions that you send in. Please make them universal questions where our whole audience would have some interest. And our question this week is, what if a person is having trouble connecting with their spirit guides? Do spirit guides ever just decide they could use a little break? Well, yeah. Maybe. I don't know. I've never experienced Phillip taking a break, so I would have to say, not that I know of, but who knows. We also get a message from Phillip from one of our books. It's the Master's Book of Answers, and each page, as you know, is a different wisdom, so we'll get that in a few minutes. I want to also tell you that 2020 is not going to be our easiest year. We're in this major transformation, and my friend Ann Thomas, she used to tell me, when you're climbing the mountain, you get almost to the top, and that's where it's the steepest, that's where it's the hardest. But if you just remember, we're almost to the top, and if we flip over, we're still at the top. So we're getting very close to that tipping point. We're very close to that top, but we're not there yet. And so the new age and the old age are going to buck heads for a while yet. That I want to say that racist saying, that silly saying, that not nice saying, make America great again. Well, that's about taking us back pre-Dr. Martin Luther King, et cetera, et cetera. So let's not go there. We're not going to. And I also want to say if the Democrats are smart, they'll concentrate on the House more than the White House, or on the Senate more than the White House. So hopefully they'll concentrate on the Senate rather than the White House. So here we go. And thank you for those of you who are coming live. If you were live a few minutes ago on our original video, I'm sorry that I had to delete you. I got a chance to acknowledge you or talk to you. So one of my other books here, this is going to be helpful through this next year because it's 52 processes to help you find happiness. And it's important that each of us add happiness into our life. This will help you. The other thing I want to quickly tell you about is this workshop, Awakening to Your Deeper Intuition. It is a workshop. People have asked me, can you do this online? No, it's too intense, and I want to do it in a very safe way. But if you are ready to develop your intuition, give me a call or email me or check out the brochure on the website. It's coming up in March. I do only allow so many people at a time in the group, so we already have, it's almost half full already. So if you're interested, get moving. And a lot of people who take it more than once, by the way. So let's move on here and read. And by the way, this is a new journal. It's volume 67, and I bought this particular journal because it says anything is possible if you just believe. Anything is possible if you just believe. Let's believe, shall we? Let's believe we can create a better world. Let's believe life can be joyful. All right, here we go. Philip's answer when we ask him about spirit guides. Here's what he says to us. Everyone has multiple guides they choose to work with. These choices were made while still in the state of pre-birth in human life. In one of my other books, The Found Child, I talk about soul families. It's a fiction, but I talk about soul families and how we choose our team before we come into life. And that's what Philip is saying here. Because of the confusion of hearing from multiple spirits at once, we have asked you to teach others to begin by learning to speak to one guide, the conductor, so to speak, or as you call me, the communicator. This main guide is also a protector who will guide the human in the way of love and keep away those that would do harm. I want to say you can meet many guides. We all have multiple guides helping us. But that main guide, that communicator it's like if we're standing in a room and 10 people are talking to us at once, we're not getting the clear message. So that's why I have Philip and we have that spirit guide that helps us get that clear message. And, a few years back, I had a motorcycle spill, and people look at me and say, "You rode a motorcycle? You don't look like someone who would ride a motorcycle, and you don't look big enough to hold one up." Well, I didn't for a while, and I did take a bad spill. And but that spill helped me meet my healer, Isadora. And what I heard when I asked who is my healer, and this goes, I had been working with Philip for quite some time, several years. So when I asked who is my healer, and I heard the words Isadora and Cusack, and I thought it was Isadora and Cusack. A few days later, I read about Cusack, France, which I did not know there was a Cusack, France. And Isadora, when she told me her name, was very adamant that it was spelled the French way, not the Spanish way. And I guess the difference is an A and an E. So I learned it was Isadora Cusack. And that was kind of when I read about Cusack, France, and had been told about the A and the E, I knew that this wasn't just my imagination. There was something deeper going on here. So I also have Phillip. I work with Phillip for animals. He used to work with St. Francis. I have Bernie, who's Bernie the businessman, and Bernard the banker. So there are many different guides we work with for different purposes, but Philip is my main guide. Spirit guides, and he goes on to say, spirit guides are often those who have been the teachers of humans in other life on earth incarnations. The energy is one of familiarity, which helps the communication. The way of communication between human and spirit guide is as different and in some cases difficult as it is between student and teacher in the human realm. Everyone learns in their own way at their own pace. Not everyone will recognize they are being guided, and not everyone will heed guidance. Our realm is of a much more subtle nature than is the harshest earth realm. As a human learns to better understand the subtle nature of spirit world, their ability to communicate directly with their guide will increase. This will also help them to safely and with clarity learn of all those who are available to help them. This is a growth process as well as a learning process. Now, for those of you who were with me before we lost connection, you've heard all this, but he does have more to go on to say that you haven't yet heard. So thank you for bearing with me. This is a growth process as well as a learning process. Each one's journey is different. Of course, there are ways to connect with spirit world that are safe and ways that bring forth that which you would call bad influences, even evil. We, of course, suggest you choose the path of love, but each individual must travel their own path and will call forth that which they believe in. Let us assume that those who resonate with this energy of our frequency are interested in connecting with their main spirit guide for the sake of personal growth as well as helping to usher in the new world. Many who hear this message today are part of your soul family. Thank you. Welcome, soul family. I am so honored you are part of my soul family and so grateful to get to know you a little better. Phillip goes on to say, this said, we shall look at the ways of communicating. And this is where we lost signal before. So here we go. For you, for example, your way is with words because this is where you find meaning. Those who find meaning in pictures may have visions. Others may receive information in the dream state. Others may simply have a knowing, while another may experience the guidance in a physical form. Although there are common forms of communication, the ways of receiving are as individual as is each person. We remind all that learning to communicate with us is both a learning process and a growth process. It begins, and before I forget, below I did list a website, or excuse me, a YouTube site where I have 5 steps for 5 steps to learn to communicate with your soul guide, or something of that title, maybe a little bit off, but it's some ways that will help you find that spirit guide. So Phillip goes on to say, it begins with a desire to have guidance. This may lead to classes, books, and different forms of learning how to communicate in a safe and loving and helpful manner. Practice and patience are then required by the human, who must be willing to surrender to the guidance of their spirit self. This is the most difficult for many. Do we give up on you? No. But of the 10 you give up, do we give up on you? No. But often you give up on us. Do our spirit guides give up on us? No. But we often give up on them. Let's see what message Phillip has for us. Now, what we do is just flip through here and we think left page or right page. I'm hearing right page. If you heard right page, your intuition's right on. If you heard left page, that might be a private message for you. So I always read both sides. Here's the right side. Where love can enter, love already is. Where love can enter, love already is. And the left side says, before you can learn what is real, you must let go of that which you think is real. Before you can learn what is real, you must let go of that which you think is real. And our main message, though, is where love can enter, love already is. You know, my friends, it's really interesting. I've been reading a lot of ancient texts this week, or older articles about what is truth, what is real. And, you know, there seems to be an agreement. We don't know. We don't really know what is real. So, my friends, thank you, Deborah. Hello, good to see you. And I believe it was Judith that came on earlier. And forgive me again. Rural internet, it's very iffy. So I'm glad we have a good connection now. I thank you, each and everyone, for coming. Stay safe. Keep sending rain to Australia. Keep sending love to all the leaders of the world. Sometimes that's hard to send love to those we think are wrong. But remember, truth is bigger than any one individual. We don't always know what's taking place, but we do always know love. What's created in our individual lives. That's how we created in the world. From Daisy, who fell back asleep, and from the kitties you may have heard talking, and from my home and my heart to you. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for the love you give us. Thank you for the love that you receive. Thank you for the love you spread in the world. Until next week. We're going to end this now, officially.